Hello friends! Welcome to our Monday Mindful Mobility class. My name is Tamara Vodovoz and I am here with the University of California, Davis and the Live Well Department. Today I would like to share with you some mindful mobility exercises for our shoulders and the rib cage. This is an area of the body that can get a little bit tight, a little bit caved in, and experience a lot of tension. And sometimes that tension is generated, of course, by our mind and the worries that we generate in our mind. And they find a home, they lodge in to this area and kind of closes our heart sometimes to protect ourselves. So I would like to share with you some exercises that open up, kind of like pierce open the cage, the rib cage that holds and protects the heart and the lungs, so that we can be more vulnerable. And being vulnerable is not a sign of weakness. But being vulnerable is a strength, because when we can fully reveal ourselves exactly as we are, then it is the truth that shines through, our truth. And what is more powerful than that authentic self being free to express itself? When we hide in the thoughts and the beliefs of who or what we should be or how we need to behave in order to gain approval from others, then we just kind of close in and lock ourselves up. And it's not a fun way to go about life. So let's be a little bit brave to open the cage, open the locks that hold the heart in that little protective cage. So let's be a little bit courageous to open the cage and let the heart be a little bit vulnerable and open up to life that way. So we will need a few things for our class today. We will need a strap of some sort. It can be, if it's an elastic band, that would be amazing. But if you don't have an elastic band, that's totally okay. You can use a sweater or a scarf or a towel. So anything like that would work just fine. And of course, we will need an open floor space. So if you haven't done so yet, go ahead and move the furniture out of the way, roll out your mat, and let's get started. Oh yes, something else that would be really amazing to have is a yoga block, such as this one. But if you don't have a yoga block, we can substitute with a water bottle wrapped around in a towel or a small blanket. So lots of things to substitute. So just be creative and use the elements that you have available at home. All right. So I would like us to start laying down on our back, and we'll use the blanket or the towel without the water bottle yet. And we'll start with a very gentle heart opener and a moment for centering and focusing our attention in this area of our body. So let's go to our mats. way that we'll use the blanket or the towel is actually by making a little roll. So this blanket is folded a few times to come to this shape. Now if you have a towel, you can also fold it maybe once or twice to get to a point where you can make a roll like this. We're gonna make a burrito, a big burrito with our blanket or our towel. And you will of course test it out. If it's too thick, it's too big to start with, you can unroll a little bit so it's not so intense. We want to find an easy place to be. We don't want it to be too intense of a heart opener to start. Okay. So we'll bring that roll right on the level of the shoulder blades. So when we lay down on our back, the roll comes out right below our armpits. So if you're looking at it from here, that roll would be right about this level. So go ahead and lay down. And open the arms out to the sides. Bend your knees, feet on the floor, wide as your mat. And make sure that your shoulders are not coming up to your ears. Go ahead and scoot a little bit more over so that the top of the shoulders can actually touch the floor. And notice that the blanket is below the armpits. You can take the arms wide out to the sides and bend your elbows a little bit so that the arms can really rest on the floor. Keep your head neutral, facing up. Close your eyes and start to breathe and feel this area of our bodies. Take deep breaths and notice how that feels in your ribs. Notice how it feels in general to have the chest open and exposed this way. Pressing your feet into the floor, go ahead and gently lift your hips a little bit away from the ground and shift your hips a little bit side to side. Just notice how that feels in your ribs and your back. Maybe find a slightly different placement and lower your spine back down onto the blanket. once more, lift your hips. And this time you can manually move the blanket a little bit lower, so it's now under our low back. And shift your knees a little bit side to side. Lift your hips again and roll the blanket now to be under your sacrum, under the hips. You can take the feet wide, let the knees knock in towards the center. Maybe a little bit of movement here to loosen up the hips and sacral area. And let's bring the knees up and towards the chest. Take a few big breaths here. And lower the feet down, lift the hips and remove the blanket. Right. You can leave the blanket open. Wow, it's really sunny. Even though we're approaching sunset, but it's quite sunny. But there's a nice breeze. It feels quite nice. Okay, and let's come to all fours. Actually, before we go to all fours, you can sit down on our shins for a moment. Inhale, take the arms up. Pull your left wrist to the right. Come up and change sides. And come back here. Take your shoulders back, down, and around. Big circles here with the shoulders. Hi, Kali. This is little Kali, our little assistant and guardian. All right, interlace your fingers, press your palms forward. And then press the palms straight up. And take your rib cage around in big circles. Change direction. And release. Now interlace your fingers behind your back, roll the shoulders back, and bring the ribs in. So we don't pop the ribs forward, but actually create some action to bring the ribs down and in. Keep the head neutral. Take another big breath here, lift the arms away from the body, and release. All right, let's stand up. And because of the lighting, I want to change a little bit the orientation of the camera. So let's see if this is actually going to work better. I think it will. Okay. Yeah. All right, so let's try this angle instead. So let's stand up. And of course, now it's too short for standing up. Let me lift it a little bit more. Okay. All right, so standing up with your knees slightly bent, feet wider than your hips, and just allowing the lower body to respond naturally and move freely. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, release. Repeat twice more. Inhale, lift your arms again. And this time, take your left wrist, pull it all the way to the right. Bend your knees and come through, making a big circle. And repeat twice more. Bend those knees to come through. At the top, change to the other side. Pull the right wrist to the left. Bend your knees, go through. Twice more. And release. All right, now standing. Interlace the fingers, same as we did before. Press the palms up. Extend the arms, keep reaching high. And move the rib cage. You can bend your knees just a little bit. And try to focus on circling the ribs, not the hips, but right here, the ribs. Change direction. There's always one way that's a little bit harder. And release. Now turn your toes to point forward. Hey, Cali, no más. Toes pointing forward. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, bring the arms behind your back. Interlace your fingers. Now, if the previous time when we did that, you were not able to have a good reach behind you, you can use your strap now. And hold the strap behind your back with your thumbs pointing out. So I'll show it with the strap, but you can do it with your fingers interlaced if you like. Inhale, open the chest, take the shoulders back. Bring your belly in towards your spine. So keep a little engagement here in your center so we're not totally popping forward, but we're actually keeping a little connection here of the belly button in towards the spine. Take a deep breath. And on your exhale, bend the knees and fold forward. Keep lifting the shoulders away from the ears. Cali. Yeah. All right. Had to tell the puppy to stop barking. Yeah. No. All right, so we're folding forward. And lift the shoulders away from your ears. Don't let them collapse and crunch in, but keep some action lifting away from the shoulders. Yeah, váyase. No. Take a deep breath. And on your exhale, release your hands to the floor. Take your feet a little bit wider if you need to, so that your fingertips can touch the floor. with your inhale, slide your thumb up the inside of the opposite arm, across the chest, lifting the shoulder and the elbow, look up, and then extend the arm up to the sky. Exhale to return the hand to the center. Inhale to the other side. Exhale, bring it down. Keep going with your own breath, alternating side to side. Last one. And slowly bend the knees and rise up. Exhale, release the hands. All right. Now let's take our strap. We don't want, if you have an elastic band, we don't want it to be too stretchy, so I'm holding it double. All right, this exercise, it's so easy. We can do it anytime. Feels amazing. Let's remember to do it more often, right? So you can stand with your feet wide just to make a stable foundation, and hold the strap a little bit wide enough that you can easily pass the strap behind you. And we'll repeat a few times. Let's repeat 10 times. That's already 3 for me. And if you notice that you have enough space, it feels pretty free, maybe you can inch your way tiny bit and make it shorter, and find a place where you feel a little bit more challenged. And you might notice that after you do it a few times, things might start to loosen. This is something super easy that you can do. For example, after you shower and you have that towel in your hand and you're about to hang it, you're done using it, before you hang your towel, grab it and do a few passes like this. Imagine if you did this every day and you did just 10 passes like this with your towel. How happy would your shoulders be on a daily basis? Kalino. All right, I'm about to complete my 10. So for the last ones, I'm going to challenge myself, bringing it a little bit more narrow. Just a couple inches makes a huge difference. Remember to keep your belly in so that we're not losing the integrity of our core. We're keeping our core stable. All right, that was the last one. Very good. Now hold the strap a tiny bit more narrow behind you. So narrow enough that you cannot pass it overhead. And it's still, it still is a little bit wider than interlacing your fingers. Go ahead and take a deep breath. Make sure your toes are pointing forward. Bend your knees and fold forward. Let your head go. And maybe let the arms drop up over. Woo, and maybe they pass. Oh my gosh, they just passed over my head. So when we fold forward, maybe we allow a little bit more space for the strap to pass. Okay, I'm going to bring it up and over again. Do a little cheating here with bending the elbow. Take a deep breath and fold forward once more. And slowly see if the strap goes over, and slowly roll your spine up to standing. All right, cheat a little bit, bending the elbows to get it behind you, and let's try one more time. If it's too easy, then make it a little bit more narrow, and if it's too hard, make it a little bit wider. So you have to adjust for your own shoulder mobility. Big breath, bend the knees, and fold over. And slowly let it pass, roll up, go in. Nice. All right. And let's stay with the strap. And we'll change the angle. Once more, we're going to show now something on the wall. Okay, so this one will really challenge our shoulders, and I apologize for all the shadows and light. It's not the ideal lighting. So we're gonna hold the strap more or less shoulder width apart. And how? You bend your elbows and bring your fist holding the strap towards your shoulders, and that's more or less where we want to be. And then bring your forearms to the wall and stand pretty close. We want to hold it so our thumbs face out. So it's like we're pulling, we're stretching the strap out. Keep your belly in, knees can be slightly bent, and now slowly start to slide the forearms up and return it down. Now you're gonna feel this really intense in the front of the shoulders. Now the idea is that when you bring the forearms up, we're not popping the ribs forward, but actually bring them in and belly in. So we're still kind of knitting the lower ribs in and the belly button in. All right? So let's try that one more time. You might not be able to extend your arms all the way. This is quite challenging. If you bring it a little bit more narrow, it's easier. Let's do one more and hold. And bring it down. Wow, I really feel it. So let's go ahead and release this strap. Swing the arms around to loosen them up. Pretty intense stuff, I know. All right. Let's change gears and come into some fun triangles using the strap. And I think the lighting on this side is slightly better. Maybe a little bit more back. Okay. So with your strap, come to stand with your legs wide. And it does help here to have a long strap so that you can really extend your arms as much as you want across as possible. Okay, so legs wide, turn your right toes to the right, left toes facing forward. On your inhale, come into a reverse triangle, bringing your hand, your left hand to the back thigh, and inhale, reaching the right arm up and over and creating a little bit of tension on your strap. Exhale, now reach towards the right, bringing the right hand to the shin, so I'm trapping the strap between my hand and my shin. Belly in, ribs back, shoulders back, and extend through the right arm and stretch that strap out. So we're using the strap to create an action of extending and lengthening across the chest. We're stretching out that band, strap or tail, whatever it is that you have. Hopefully it's long enough that you can really stretch it out across the length of your arms. Take a deep breath, come up, and let's switch our feet around. So now right toes face forward, left toes face to the left. All right, if you need to adjust the strap or anything, do so. I want to see what it feels like if I hold it. Oh, that's going to be a little bit too tight if I hold it double. See if it's long enough. All right, we'll see how it goes. All right, so reverse triangle, taking the right hand back to the right leg, and inhale, reach through the left arm, reach up, up, up. And come up, and now reach to the left, reach, 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 bringing the left hand to the shin, belly in, ribs and shoulders back, and look up, stretch the band, reaching through the right arm, lengthening across the chest. Big breath. And come up and release. And let go of the strap and shake out your arms for a moment. Okay, now that we have loosened up and moved already through our chest, let's use the power of the breath now to do some fast movements with our breath. Okay. So it'll go like this. So we'll use, it's like with our hands, we're pushing through the air, and we're also pushing through the sides of our ribs, okay? So on the exhale, we push across. So the the arm underneath pushes across, the arm on the top pushes across. Inhale to come back to center. Exhale, push to the other side. And we'll go first slow, and then we'll speed it up, okay? So this is how it goes. You can exhale through your nose or through your mouth, whatever you prefer. So count about 10 of those. And let's speed it up. Count 10 more at a higher speed. And release. Inhale, reach up. Exhale. Exhale slow through your mouth. Let's do 2 more of those. Very well. Okay. So that was going up and across. And now we'll go twisting. So for the twist, bend your knees a little bit. Keep your belly in, core stable, toes pointing in the same direction as your knees. So we want the foundation to stay strong and stable. Okay. So the twist will be across, and the same with as if you're pushing with your hand, you're pushing the air out in the opposite direction. And as you exhale, also a little effort to bring the belly in. Inhale to come back to center. Exhale, the other arm back. So, and the back arm, what happens with the back arm? The elbow reaches back, okay? So this is the other view. So let's start. Going slow first. Count about 10. And now let's speed it up. 10 more at a higher speed. And bring it back to center. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, release. 2 more. All right. Well done. I love those. Let's come back to the wall. All right. So now on the wall, we'll bring one hand to the wall, and this arm goes level with the shoulder and fingers pointing up. Take a wide stance, so stand with your feet a little bit wide. And just make sure that the foundation is stable. So our feet wide, bend your knees a little bit, belly in. Inhale, reach up and over, and this hand keeps pushing into the wall, and then reach with the other hand, reach for the wrist. And try to look up towards the sky. Big breaths here. And notice that my hips have to go out. That's totally fine. If you need to take the hand a little bit higher, that's also okay. But keep a lot of action in this arm. So I'm not bending this elbow. Keep it straight. And reach up and over. Release. Now turn your fingers to point back, and we're gonna walk, walk, walk to turn away from the wall. And now really important, bring those ribs down, belly in, and open up the shoulder and look away. You can even hold the ear with the free hand. You can hold that opposite ear and pull gently pull away from the shoulder. All right, now we're gonna get to see it in a slightly different angle. Okay, so here is the hand. So we're going now to the other side. So hand to the wall, fingers pointing up. Sorry, keep that arm straight. And now reach the other wrist, other hand up and over to find the wrist. And turn to look up towards the sky. Lots of action in that straight arm pressing into the wall. Release. Now turn the fingers to point behind you and walk, walk, walk. Now to turn away from the wall, opening the chest, maybe using the hand to help you to open the chest. Take a few breaths here. And also maybe bringing the hand to the ear and bringing the face away from the shoulder. And slowly release, and let's shake it out. It can be a little intense on the wrist, even though we're not weight bearing, but we're still pushing into the floor. Into the wall. And now we're gonna go to the floor. And I apologize that today I've moved the camera a ton. I'm just trying to figure out the lighting and the best angles. Sorry for that. Okay, hopefully you can follow without getting dizzy with all the movement of the camera. Okay, we're gonna come back to the floor. So let's open our blanket just to be comfortable. All right. Lay down on your back, knees bent. Give yourself a little hug. You can rock a little bit here side to side if you need to, if it feels good. And bring your feet back down. You can keep them a little bit wider than your hips. We want it to be in a comfortable position that feels stable. All right, and now we'll focus on the action of the upper body. So go ahead and bend your elbows with your fingers pointing straight up to the sky. And lower the shoulder blades down away from your ears. And go ahead, and just so we understand and keep that lock of the body that I was talking about, bring the lower ribs down towards the floor. Lift your hips just a few inches off the ground, belly in, tail under, and then slowly lower the hips back down, keeping that action of ribs down, belly in, and tail slightly tucking under. All right. Keep that action in your center and press the elbows down into the floor, and that creates a lot of action. And now we'll lift the hips just an inch off the ground. Keep pushing. We're gonna go one side at a time. Push. Let's start with the left forearm down. Press the left forearm down into the floor nice and strong, and then lift up with the right arm and reach up and across, kind of like 45 degrees away from you. and down. And now the other side. Keep the shoulders down, away from the ears, so that when you roll over, you're rolling on to the top of the shoulder. So you're not crunching shoulder to ear. That was not a good one. But there's a lot of space. Look how much space between shoulder and ear. And reach. Come down and switch side to side. All right, one more to each side. And release. Hug the knees in if that feels good. Take a little break. And keeping your knees together, but at a 90-degree angle. And if you have a yoga block, this is actually a good moment to use it. If you have that yoga block, bring it between your knees, so that we can keep our hips and our knees bent at a 90-degree angle. Block right between those knees to keep our hips also at an even width. Open the arms and slowly drop those knees all the way to the right. Okay. Make sure that you are comfortable in this twist. Notice that when I lift it up, I actually adjusted my rib cage to come down more comfortable in the twist. Now the right hand can stay on the left chest, and we'll move the left arm with the breath. So on the inhale, I want to reach at the top of the inhale, I want to reach the left arm all the way up. And as I exhale, lower the arm back down by your side. Try to keep the fingernails touching the floor. I know it's hard. At some point they might come off the ground, that's okay, but keep reaching out as much as you can. So open up that shoulder using the breath. Inhale up. Exhale down. Let's do 3 more. And slowly change sides, bringing the knees to the other side, maybe rocking a little bit here side to side before we change sides, just to kind of even it out. All right, and knees all the way to the left now. Keeping that block between the knees. All right, adjust the ribs so that you can twist the best as possible. And same now, right arm. As we inhale, reach the fingers up high. As you exhale, slide them down. Keep going. Let's count about 8 or 10 of these. rock a little bit side to side. And now we'll do one last heart opening pose where we'll rest for a moment. So now is a time when you can use the yoga blocks or a water bottle wrapped in a towel so it's not too rough. Okay. So I'm gonna show it with two blocks because we do want to support the head. That's really important. So also remember that the yoga blocks have different heights. So we don't want it to be too high. We want it to be at a good level. And again, if this is too intense for your rib cage, you can go back to just using the towel or the blanket in a burrito. Okay, so that is still totally okay. All right. So the block, I'm gonna go with the lower setting. I don't recommend the high setting. You have to be quite flexible and open in your rib cage to do a back bend on that one. But you could try this one. I'm gonna show it with the lowest. All right. So knees bent, feet on the floor, and I'm gonna slowly lower myself down onto the block. And remember, I want it to be just below the shoulder blades, and the other block is going to support my head. Here, open the arms out to the sides, bend the elbows, make any adjustment necessary so that you can feel as comfortable as possible. Now, some of you will be comfortable extending the legs, or you can also bend the knees and bring the legs into a diamond shape. So lots of options here. So find the best heart opening position. We'll stay here breathing for a couple of minutes. And remember, if you need to come out of this at any moment, please feel free to do so. And just lay flat on the floor for a Shavasana. When you are ready, you can come off of the blocks and bring them under your knees. And I even put the blanket on top of the blocks. And go ahead and lay down with your back flat on the floor so that you can come back to an even spine here. Close your eyes and let yourself drop in. Notice how your chest feels, how your heart area feels. Take a few deep breaths into the chest, into the heart area. Exhale through your mouth. And go ahead and interlace your fingers and bring them to the base of your skull. Take a deep breath. And exhale, lift your head and bring your chin towards your chest. Maybe move your head a little bit side to side. Hey, yeah. And release. Oh my God. Kali, venga. Venga. Kali, venga. Venga. What is your problem? What is your problem? Okay. We have a stressed out puppy here. Who knows what came into the yard. She seems very concerned. Thank you for following. I would love to hear if this class felt. Hey, stop. She's yelling at the neighbor. Would love to hear how this class felt for you. Let me know how your shoulders and your heart feels, and if you're feeling a little bit more vulnerable, and if in that vulnerability you can also sense into the strength of being vulnerable and being authentic and opening up your heart. Thank you so much. We're gonna go see what the puppy is stressed out about. And I'll see you soon. Ciao, ciao.